Hey guys, it's Miles here. Today we're going to be doing another BSG tutorial. I felt that it's important to have like an up-to-date video even though nothing has changed, but if you don't know that, you're going to search for the newest video available online and say like, hey, that's the latest, so that's the best. But that said, we've got a whole bunch of other videos on my channel that are really helpful. I've got a Discord. If you need help, you can reach out directly. So just keep that in mind going into the simulation. I know a lot of professors don't even teach this stuff, which is why I started making videos, because my own professor didn't teach anything. So I've helped hundreds of people, helped them graduate, helped them, get an A. So it's one of the favorite things that I do, is save the day. So like, just keep that in mind going into the simulation. If you start struggling or you're just overwhelmed initially, be sure to reach out before it's too late. So with that said, let's get going.
Don't forget to subscribe, guys. It means so much. Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to teach it like you guys haven't ever seen this. So when you log in, you've got 10 decision panels, from compensation to finance. Those are where you enter your adjustments. And then like below that, there's a bunch of reports. So I'm going to go through, we're going to use some of the reports, and I'll talk my way through it. Sometimes I'll probably like skip over some stuff, or I'll like not speak something that maybe you're wondering about. So feel free to ask in the comments if you're like, hey, at 1 minute 30 seconds you said this, what did you mean, or whatever, so yeah, or join the Discord and ask, and I'll be happy to answer. So that said, on compensation and training, once you have this page kind of set up, it doesn't really change unless your overall strategy changes. So you don't want to overspend here, but it is important to put in some spending in each category. Generally in the BSG, you don't want to zero stuff out. It just like the system doesn't like that. So we've got our base wage, incentive pay, fringe benefits, best practices. Out of that, best practices generally is where you want to spend the most, because it just has a value over time, but it does have diminishing returns. So don't be like, hey, let's just throw all our money at this. I've seen so many people do that, and I'm like, what are you doing? But they don't know any better. But anyway, yeah, so for now, we're going to leave this. Actually, I'm going to reduce this slightly. Just a little bit across the board. And this will help like increase our profitability, but less best practices is like less efficiency over time, if that makes sense. So from here, before we get into this other stuff, we want to look at like the current state, like how much overage do we have? And we're actually doing way better than we were. So the previous year, there was a ton of LY inventory, which you want to make sure that you don't have that, because that's not good. So we can see like what we've got here. We can try to sell off some, but see, we're selling at a loss, so that's not ideal. So we'll probably just leave it. Hey, we can sell off this. Yeah, this works. We'll go ahead and sell off all of it, 100%. And then 50% over here. Yeah, we'll do 50% there. And then we'll leave this as is, okay? Now that we see the picture, like how much demand do we currently have, or how much lack of demand, we can go in and say like, hey, now we're gonna go produce more shoes, okay? We purchased some space in the previous year, so we're gonna purchase the equipment that goes in that space. And then we could expand more, which I might do like 1,000 in Latin America. I think we'll be able to handle that, okay? So from there, we're gonna go back into branded production. Even though we just purchased the equipment, we didn't tell our factories to make more shoes. But we're gonna allocate some of Latin America to private label. So we're not gonna produce all here. We're gonna leave some over, which I think a lot of people have issues. It's not very intuitive in the interface here. Like, how much do you want to produce here and here? It's just kind of like implied, like if you don't produce max, it allocates. Should you choose, you've got the ability to allocate to private label if this number's not maxed out. All right, so we're gonna make some more shoes, more styles, more models, because consumers don't like wearing all the same shoe. Know what I mean? People like being different. Like my beanie. I got this beanie because I was like, no one's gonna wear this shit. Only I'm gonna wear it. So yeah, that's me. That's how I roll. You gotta get the cool stuff. You know what I mean? We'll go ahead and go 500. We might end up reducing it. Oh wait. We'll do it in Asia too. Okay, so now we're gonna go to our demand screen and we're looking back at the surplus and we say, hey, we've got a ton of product. A ton of demand, I mean, sorry. So we're gonna take a look at our distribution while we're looking at the demand. So because we're producing so many models now, we're generating a ton of demand that we can't supply. So we actually need more production. But we're gonna look at our profit margins. So because they're so low, we've got a couple options. We can increase our price, which doesn't have, it has negative impacts like on your image rating. So we're gonna take a look. It might be worth it to just produce 400 models this time around. So we'll go back, distribution, because every time you produce more models, your workforce screws up more because they don't know how to do their job. So they're like, oh, hey, we made this model wrong. We got to kick it out so your numbers get worse in terms of how much you actually produce. So we'll go back into wholesale. We'll say, okay, this looks more realistic. We kind of want to produce more models to tailor the demand in Asia. And the reason why I say that is because leveraging the other factors isn't gonna be great, like marketing and price. We are gonna have to find a way to allocate some supply here because of the profit margin. We're gonna send it Latin America, okay? We'll go 1,000 here. And 36.23. And then this looks better. And we're not in great shape here, okay? So it's not the best of situations. But we'll be okay we'll improve over the course of a few years. We're gonna go increase our price here. Sorry, I'm thinking how I want to handle this. We'll reduce our price here. And then we're looking at our retailer outlets. You see that that's red. That's because our internet price isn't within the ideal threshold. So we'll fix that in a moment, so that's nothing to worry about. So we've got a little bit of a surplus here, so we'll increase our marketing a touch. All right, that looks better. So now we're gonna go to internet. We're gonna increase our price here to get the 40%. That looks good. We're gonna go back. So these numbers jump back up again. So it's like a constant cycle. Look at our margins, man. It's terrible. Usually you want to be around like 20%. This is bad, but it's okay. It's part of the struggles. You know what I mean? And like, even like with someone like me, you know, like looking at this, sometimes there's not an instant fix. It's more of a process. So sometimes you can instantly turn things around. Other times it's like digging yourself out of a trench. I always say it's like turning a train around that's going in the wrong direction. You have to first stop the train in order to turn it around. So it's like the momentum going the wrong way. Like, hey, hold on, stop, please stop. So yeah, let's take a look. All right, what we're gonna do. Okay, what we're gonna do. Sometimes it's best in the situation, even if you have an overage, just carry it over to the following year instead of just cutting your prices so you can meet demand. So it's more cost effective to just overproduce, keep your plant operation working at max production. And this is like within a threshold, and in certain situations, don't always just produce max and carry it over, because that's also a way you can get into a ton of trouble. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. All right, so now we're gonna go to our private label. All right. And get this up to the minimum requirement. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And then we're gonna look at what numbers we should input. So okay, and then we're gonna include these in our projections. So we've taken care of this screen. We've distributed pretty efficiently from just Asia and Latin America going to itself. So from there, we'll go to celebrity endorsements. And we want to win. We're kind of like in a situation where we need to win max celebs to recover. So we're going to enter the max price. Because, yeah, we just want to play it safe. It's way more important to secure those celebs in our state. But keep in mind, you don't want to start a bidding war with your competitors, because if you start pricing like this, and they see like, hey, we're not winning celebs, they'll start doing the same thing. And because there's a cap and a limit, if everyone starts bidding 30,000, or what is it, 30 million, I guess, with the numbers, it turns into a randomized thing, because there's a cap of 3 and there's a price cap. So then the system just randomly chooses, which is really flawed. If it's a business simulation, that doesn't happen, you know, like, so, but I don't know, they do it this way, so you gotta think about that. And from here, we're gonna look at our corporate citizenship. I'm gonna increase this slightly. All right, and then sorry, I'm thinking about our wholesale again, or our plants for the following year. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back based on the decision, and I'm gonna add another 1,000 here. That's just based on knowledge. Like, don't overexpand, but with what I've seen within this industry, assuming we're gonna win 3 celebs, we're gonna need that demand, or that production ability to be able to meet demand. And if demand is a little short, we're able to allocate that into the private label. With what I've seen in private label, we'll be able to do something, okay? We'll be able to handle it. So yeah. Just don't overexpand, because that can really screw you over. And yeah, but it's great to work at the max production. It's ideal. That's what you want. So we're at the finance screen. We're gonna see, because we're at a B-, we need to get that up, but we also want to increase like our ROE and EPS. But we can't do a stock repurchase, so let's like say like, hey, we're gonna do a $2 dividend and take out a loan to cover all the difference. And that's good. Our projections aren't, I mean, we're up, you know, almost 100% from LY, which even LY was really good too. So we're on the recovery path, but in order to fully recover, we've got to say to our industry, like, hey, we're a badass company. And you do that by getting your image rating up and generating that demand, leveraging celebrities, ideally. Now it's not foolproof, but you know, we're almost at all our investor expectations now, and the subsequent year we should be that much closer. We'll probably beat all investor expectations except for credit rating. Credit rating is the most difficult to improve, and it takes the longest to do over time. So just keep that in mind. Like, if you're struggling, make sure you try to keep your credit rating up, because that can really just crash a company, you know, outside the other metrics. Like, you can boost your stock price artificially almost with repurchasing shares, but getting that credit rating up, you can't really like game the system, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta really work to get it recovered. So with that said, that's how I would go about doing a decision. I just wanted to share this with you guys so you can get, you know, firsthand like knowledge. I didn't walk you through every step, like do this because of that, but like I showed you the process that I go about when I make a decision. And you see that I didn't use a ton of reports. The reports have a ton of value in identifying problems. So just be sure to understand like how to utilize them. They're really intuitive. So you look at them, you say like, hey, our profit margins are the lowest in the industry, so maybe we should fix that. You know what I mean? So you want to be profitable, you want to be operating efficiently, you want to be meeting your investor expectations, you want to be doing everything right, okay? It's like a relationship. You can't be screwing up, you know, staying out all night, or, you know, acting all shady and stuff, because then you're going to hear about it, and your significant other in this case are your investors, and you know, your game to date score is going to go way down if you don't get your crap together, get your ducks in a row. So yeah, I hope this video helped you out. If it did, be sure to leave that like, comment if you've got any questions, be sure to join the Discord, reach out to me directly if you're struggling, you need some help. I'm happy to help you out. So yeah, good luck in your BSG simulation, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, guys, that's it. That's how I go about handling a decision in the business strategy game. So I hope this video was helpful. I wanted to kind of like just go through the process and explain like, hey, this is how I approach these 10 decision panels and what I find important, how I address problems. Hopefully that was conveyed through the video, because I also just wanted to like do it and kind of speak about it, and not, because other videos I go through and I say like, hey, this is what this does, this is that. I didn't show like too much of decision making, which I feel like is important. But those other videos, if you haven't seen them, you should have watched them too, because I talk about each individual decision panel, and some of them are like redundant in their points, but like just go watch them, okay? So like, you know what you're doing when you go into this, because the BSG can be very unforgiving, and it's all about momentum. Okay, so keep that in mind. You need to get off on a great start. Now, that doesn't mean you need to change a ton of stuff. So like, sometimes less is more, and you want to know what you're doing, because if you're just doing stuff blindly, it'll backfire. Trust me. Like, keep an eye on the projections. You want to be beating investor expectations, at least meet them. If you're significantly below them, that's an easy indication that something's wrong. Yeah, keep an eye on the scoreboard. Just be proactive instead of retroactive, okay? So we've got our Discord. You know, you can reach out to me directly. Like I've said, I've saved graduations. I've saved students that were graduating in a month, but they were failing and they had a job lined up. It's like, honestly, like one of the most rewarding things, you know? And it just sucks that, like, I don't know, you're paying thousands for a class to just be thrown the software, not taught anything. Like the simulation in and of itself is pretty cool. I think it's very flawed. It's got bugs. It's gotten better, but in a nutshell, it's neat, okay? But when you're not instructed it properly, and I feel like a lot of the professors just know how to run the professor side of it, and a lot of them actually screw it up with like the settings that they have, because they can. They think they're making it more difficult or more realistic or whatever, but they actually just screw it up, make it to where like everyone's score is terrible. Like but that's a different situation. It's frustrating to see, honestly, like from my perspective. So yeah, if you're in any of that kind of situation, any of those situations, be sure to reach out, and I'm happy to help. So yeah, that said, good luck with your simulation. I hope you do fantastic, and I hope this video helped you out and make you feel more comfortable, or made you feel more comfortable going into your course. I'll see you in the next one.